हर 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 महादेव नमः शिवाय
नमः शिवाय नमः शिवाय बोलो नमः शिवाय
नमः शिवाय नमः शिवाय नमः शिवाय बोलो नमः शिवाय नमः शिवाय नमः शिवाय बोलो बोलो नमः शिवाय नमः शिवाय नमः शिवाय बोलो नमः शिवाय नमः शिवाय नमः शिवाय नमः शिवाय बोलो नमः शिवाय नमः शिवाय नमः शिवाय नमः शिवाय बोलो नमः शिवाय. We continue to offer obeisance to the Divine Lord Shiva. Ratne kalpit masanam नानारत्नभूषितं निगमदा मोदाकितं चन्दनं जाति चम्पकबिल्लपत्ररचितं पुष्पं च धूपं तथा दीपं दयानि दे पशुपते हस्तकल्पितं गृहतां सौवरेणो नवरत्नकण्डरचिते पात्रे घृतं पायसं भक्षयं पञ्चविधं पयोदधियुतं रम्भाफलं पानकं शाकानामयुतं जलं रुचिकरं कर्पूरकण्डोज्ज्वलं ताम्बूलं मनसा मया विरचितं भक्त्या प्रभो स्वीकुरु छत्रं चामरयोर्युग्यं व्यजनकं चादर्शकं निर्मलं वीणाभिर्मृदङ्गकालकला गीतां च नित्यं तथा शास्त्राङ्गं प्रणति स्तुतिर्बहुविधा हे तत्समस्तं मया सङ्कल्पेन समर्पितं तव विभो पूजां गृहाण प्रभो पूजां गृहाण प्रभो पूजां गृहाण प्रभो. I offer my obeisance to you, O Lord, appealing to you that, O Lord, I recognize that you are the giver of all things good. You are the giver of peace and tranquility. You are that giver of that state of mind that is focused at all times. And this all occurs, O Lord, when we are pure in our minds. As we appeal to you, we continue to glorify you in this manner. आत्मा त्वं गिरिजामति सहचर प्राणशरीरं गृहं पूजा ते विषयो
प्रमोदरचना निद्रा समाधि सिद्धि
संचार प्रदयो प्रदक्षिण विधि स्तोत्राणि सर्व भगिरो यद् यत् कर्म शम्भो तवाराधनं शम्भो। हे प्रभु, आत्माकं त्वं गिरिजामति सहचर प्राण शरीरं गृह पूजा ते विषयोक भोग रचना निद्रा समाधि स्थिति. O Lord, this soul is a spark of your divinity. These physical attributes, all of the Pancha Jnana Indras and Pancha Karma Indras, our five senses and our five sense organs, all of them are gifts from you, O Lord. We appeal to you to guide us in such a manner that we will use all of these gifts in service to you, true service to humanity. As such, O Lord, let every activity be dedicated to you. Even in our dreams, we shall be in meditation upon you. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. We pray for forgiveness. Om Karacharan Kritam Va Kayajam Karmajam Va
Shravanayanam Janva Mahanasam Vaparadam
Vitam Vitam Sarvame Tacham Swa.
Jai Jai Karunadi Shri Mahadeva Shambho.
Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya. Bolo Namah Shivaya,
Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya.
Shiva Om, Shiva Om.
Shiva
Shiva Om, Shiva Om. Like Shiva Om, Shiva Om. Shiva Om, Shiva Om, Shiva Om, Shiva Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya,
Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya.
Namah Shivaya, bolo Namah Shivaya,
Namah Shivaya, bolo Namah Shivaya.
Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya,
Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya.
Namah Shivaya, bolo Namah Shivaya,
Namah Shivaya, bolo Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya. Talia. Hari Om Namah Shivaya. Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya. Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya.
Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya.
Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya.
Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya.
Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om Namah Shivaya. Prem Sulmavati Mahadev Ki Jai. Let us bring our minds to the attention of the Divine in the form of Bhagavan Krishna as we pay obeisance to our Divine Lord. Vasudevasutam Devam Kamsachanurmardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagagurum Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yad Kripatamam Vande Paramanand Madhavam Sri Krishnaya Vasudevaya
Govindaya Namo Namah.
सभी लोग बोलो
Shri Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namah.
प्रेम तुझ कृष्ण चंद्र भगवान की जय. Last week and the previous week, we received pravachan from our young brahmacharis. Last week, the subject by Andrew was devotion. Then Dhanesh, to be divine. And in the previous week, Anil presented that faith in God concept of that sometimes we must never doubt that God is carrying us. Today I want to continue with something that's very integral to all of our lives. And you and I cannot exist in this world if we do not participate in this endeavor. To be exact, no one can live without making decisions in our lives. Every moment of our life, we are making decisions. We are making mentally decisions. For instance, this morning when we awoke, we made a decision that we will come to Mandir. But there was some discussion in our minds. Should I go? And maybe one spouse said to the other, we shouldn't go. And then the other one says, no, maybe we should go. And then somehow they concluded, and they're both here. Or in some cases, the conclusion was, you go, I'll stay. Whatever that condition was, a decision was made, and we implemented decision. I want to talk about, over the next few weeks, we shall be talking about the subject of decision making, because it is so integral in our life, in our day-to-day life. It is that which will bring us pain, joy, success, failure, relationships, growth, whatever we aspire to do or to be, a decision must be made and must be implemented. I want to review what we have talked about in the past, whereby I discussed the essence of common sense. Now, we all are endowed with basics of common sense. What does common sense mean? When we say use your common sense, what do we mean? Vanisha, what do we mean by that? Use the microphone, please.
Something that is so obvious.
Something that's obvious. Okay? Right? Asha, what does common sense mean to you? Bolo? Speak into the microphone, please. Something logical. So common sense, something obvious, something logical. I mean, it's very clear in your mind. It's common sense. You know, it is that common sense that you shouldn't jump into water because you could drown, unless you plan to go swimming. But don't jump in with all of your clothes on. If you plan to go swimming, put on swimming clothes. That's common sense. But you know, there are many people who wade in the water with all their clothes on, trying to drown themselves. They ignore their common sense. Many of us jumped into the events of life as if we are jumping in the ocean, not realizing that we were drowned. How many of us have seen this cartoon, this, I think a Roadrunner cartoon? All of us? Now you remember the Roadrunner is running after the bird, right? The fox is running after the bird. And then he chases the bird constantly, and then suddenly the bird outsmarts him, and the bird flies across a cliff, and the Roadrunner is going. And then suddenly he stops. And the moment he realizes that he's off the cliff, that's when he falls. But unless he realizes, like he's still going, and then he stops and boom, he drops. That's when common sense kicks in. Sometimes when we fail to realize, when we realize that we have not used common sense, it's so painful. We explode, boom. And you know, he falls to the ground, totally blown up and destroyed. Many of us live life like Roadrunner. The Wile E. Coyote, right, yes. Thank you very much. The Wile E. Coyote. That we run around with life, and then when we're in thin air, poof, we realize, oh my God, what did I do with my common sense? I can't run at the edge to a cliff and keep running because I'm going to fall. But I didn't think before I leaped. I did not use my common sense. Our subject will be on how important common sense is to helping us to making decisions in the world. Common sense says that we must have a solid foundation. We must not live with a guilt state of mind. If we did nothing wrong, do not be afraid. Many of us are afraid because we think that people think we did something wrong. Or we think that people will think that we're doing something wrong. Or we think that the people think that we are thinking that we are wrong. And we are confused. As such, we're not applying our common sense, which says, if I didn't do anything wrong, why am I afraid? That's common sense logic. Then, if you're not sure and you're confused and you're thinking that people thinking that you're doing something wrong, and you know you're not doing anything wrong, then seek advice. You have doubts. Talk to someone who will help you confirm that, you know what? Stop thinking what you think people are thinking, because they're not thinking what you're thinking they're thinking. You don't know what they're thinking. You're thinking of what you think they're thinking. Is that good enough for you? Many of us live our lives like that. Oh, you know, Panditji, I think they're thinking, and they're thinking that I'm thinking. And I says, everybody's thinking, but somebody must be stinking. Because nothing makes sense. As such, ask advice when in doubt. Seek that person in your life who you trust and who will tell you the truth. And by the way, the person who tells you the truth doesn't always tell you nice things. They tell you things you don't like because they're telling you the truth. If you find someone who's telling you what they call the truth and you like it all the time, you must stop and think again, are you really getting the truth? Because you can't be perfect. None of us are. I want you all to know, personally in my life, I have 6 critics. My 5 daughters and my wife. And boy, they're brutal. They tell me the truth as it is. And I love them because I know they will tell me what it is, because they love me too. So seek out advice from someone who we know we can trust, who loves us for who we are and who cares for our welfare and who will tell us the real truth. But remember, the truth must never be intended to hurt. The truth must be intended to enlighten, to alleviate, to bring comfort. If the truth is told to hurt, then it's a truth not worth telling. That is also common sense. Don't go about trying to be the one who tells the truth, and when you're doing it to hurt someone, then that truth has no value. That is also common sense. Have trust, but do not be afraid to ask questions. You know, some of us, I don't know, people think I'm stupid if I ask questions. And such, we keep all of our confusion in our minds, that they're thinking, that I'm thinking, that they're thinking, and we live in this isolated state of existence whereby we become a recluse. We don't talk to anybody, we don't hang out with anybody, we don't get involved in any group, we can't socialize. Wherever we go, we feel out of place because we develop a great inferiority complex because we don't know who we are. And all it takes is common sense to know that I am a child of the divine. Hum sab Bhagwan santan hai. I have God in me equally like everyone else. So why should I feel out of place? Why should I feel lesser than the other person? Why should I feel this insecurity state? It is because I'm not applying my God-given common sense. In common sense, in anything that we do, in any decision process, we must have an objective. And someone said, Panditji, I don't have time to think. What objectives are you talking about? It doesn't matter. Whenever we decide to do something, there's an objective. Let's take the scenario this morning about the two spouses in bed and, well, we are awake. We can't argue with that. So what should we do today? Well, the other one says, by the way, if this happened in your home this morning, please don't blame me. Nobody talk to me, okay? The one says, well, you know, maybe we should have breakfast in bed this morning. And the other one says, who's going to make it? Oh, we could order in. We're not in a hotel. We're in our house. There's nobody here to place an order with. Oh, okay. And then there's silence. So then, since we're not going to have hotel order service, are you going to make breakfast? No. That's your job. And it goes on. And then the one with wisdom says, you notice what we are arguing about? About eating. How about going to mandir? Go to mandir? Are you crazy? Don't you see I'm relaxing? You can't relax when you go to mandir. Mandir is very stressful. By the way, if this happened in anybody's home, please don't blame me. And then the one with wisdom says again, well, maybe if you go to mandir, we'll have a free meal. And then the other one says, but that'll be too late. And then one with wisdom says, I'll make you a cup of coffee before we go. And the scenario plays out. And a decision is made that I'm going to go to mandir because there's going to be a free meal, but I'll not be stressed out. So there's an objective. There'll be no stress. There might be a free meal. But maybe there's a hidden objective. I might get closer to God. I might hear something that will help me to understand some of my challenges. So whatever the objectives are that brought you this morning, I hope that they will be achieved. Because you use your common sense and you're here today. So let me congratulate everybody for being here this morning. But whenever we talk of objectives, there are obstacles. Remember the scenario I gave you? That, you know, the husband says, let's order in, and the wife says, we're not in a hotel. The husband says, you make breakfast, and the wife says, I'm not your servant. Oh, did I say wife? Oh, I'm sorry. I should be saying the wise one, okay? I didn't want to define this. Right? The wise one says, I'm not your servant. So there is always obstacles to overcome in any approach, any decision making to achieve anything. What actions to take to overcome the obstacles? Now, the wise person in that conversation decided that it's better to be calm and let the unwise person continue to rant and rave about, I don't want to go to mandir in the morning, I feel stressed out, I should stay in bed, and so on and so on. And the wise person says, maybe if you go to mandir, it will help you to forget all your stress. And then they decide on, don't worry, I'll drive, you don't have to drive. By the way, this could be male or female, you understand that, right? Okay. And as such, there is always a way to overcome the obstacles. But in all of this, we need to understand that common sense is not so common in the world we live in today. Don't assume that your spouse is very sensible. And at the same time, don't assume they're an idiot. Don't take anything for granted. Project your common sense. Give the other person a chance to project their common sense. Because common sense is there, but bear in mind it's not so common. Don't assume that because you're thinking wisely, that the other person is thinking wisely. Help them to think wisely. Give hints, subtle hints, without humiliating, without being demeaning, without being degrading. Help them to come to the realization that maybe that they will have the wisdom to understand that they're not using common sense. Common sense that you assume that everyone should have, and you have, but you're not seeing it in others. This is one of the greatest pitfalls of human relationship. When we think we are acting very wise, and we think the other person is totally unwise, and we do nothing to help them to become wise, we continue to call them idiots. We continue to call them a less dimwit, and we think we are very wise for doing that. He who has wisdom never judges the wisdom of others. Let everyone rise to a level of understanding, but we need to help each other to do that. In reality, we are all about what we want, with little time spent on what is the best way to get what we want. We are all about what we want, with little time spent on the best way to get what we want. By the way, there's always a best way or a better way. Many of you thought I was on holidays, and many of the people said, Panditji, you had a good holiday. Well, whether you call it holidays or not, I was in holy days. While I was away, I went to Guyana to visit my brother who's not so well for 3 days. And then I went to Trinidad, where I was engaged in 5 days of pravachan. It was a holiday, yes. So that's my holiday. And then I returned to Toronto last Monday, and then came to Mandir on Tuesday evening, and left Toronto on Wednesday for Mexico. And I stayed in Mexico until last night, where I conducted first the Varsi Puja and Ganesh Puja, and then a Vivah Sanskara, a wedding on the beach. So it was not a holiday. It was all work, work, work. And I flew thousands of miles. But while I was there in Mexico, when I arrived, I knew that my plane was arriving at a certain time, and the hotel check-in is at 3 o'clock. So I said, based on me arriving at 1:30, I will be at the hotel by 3, and I will hit the beach by 3:30. Sounds logical. I arrived on time, but then the transportation to take me to the hotel, you have to wait for everybody to get on the bus. And they waited, and 1 hour we waited for the bus to receive all those passengers. And then we were informed that it would take 1 hour to get to the hotel. So there goes my beach. But so what? So I was there, I enjoyed it. Now on the day of departure, which was yesterday, my flight is at 3:55, 4 o'clock. I was informed by the concierge that, Mr. Sharma, you have to be downstairs at 10:30 to take the bus. And it takes an hour to get there. So that means I'll be sitting from 11:30, 12:30, 1:30, 2:30, 4 hours.
I said, this doesn't make sense. I could be on the beach. I'm losing my beach time. So I thought for a moment, what do I want? I want to spend time on the beach. And I must go home. Two things. So I inquired, is there a taxi service that takes people to the airport? Of course there is. There is. How long does a taxi take? Half an hour. Interesting. Oh, good. Can I get a taxi? Yes, you can. Well, what time is checkout? 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock checkout. Flight at 3:55. Taxi takes half an hour. What do you deduct? More beach time. So I casually went upstairs, changed my clothes, went on the beach. Came back, asked for a taxi. Of course you have to pay for the taxi, right? And got there in time, got in the lounge, spent some time, relaxed, caught my flight, and came home on time. And I got more beach time also. What's the essence of, or the moral of my little story? I took time to think so I can get what I want and get the best out of what I want with the time that I have. Now, life is also very important for us to do this. That every event, whether it was a holiday, whether what it was, take the time to think about the scenario around you. Stop to think before we say or do anything. Now, I could have gotten very upset with our bus driver people and say, look, I'm here, why do I have to wait? I could have argued for, sir, that's the time we're leaving. They're nice to you when you're checking in, not when you're checking out. By the way, I saw and I heard one of the comments, they're very beautiful. On the way, there is a hotel, a resort called Vedanta Resort, believe it or not. And I said, wow. And the guy who's the tour guide says on the bus, by the way, when you go into this place, you're so amazed. You say, wow, oh my God, it's so beautiful. But when you're about to leave and they give you the bill, you say, Jesus Christ, it's so expensive. So all of that happened. And then while I was on the plane returning, I decided that this issue of decision making is a subject that I must address. And you see that little, everybody read it, it's at the bottom of the slide. What is it? Can you see it? Say it again loudly, please. LTDR. Now, who can tell me what it means? Some of you know. Yes. Say it loudly, please. Listen, think, decide, then respond. Listen, think, decide, then respond. Give the young man a big hand, please. Now, listening is only one aspect. It means gathering information about the situation. Think about what the situation is about. Then decide on the options you have in the situation. Then commit yourself to a response. Now, that's a process. It's a very, very intricate process, but it's a process that operates on basis common sense. I did exactly that with my vacation, or my time in, no, I said vacation, in Mexico, that I should get the best of time. Now, the subject that I really want to talk about, this was the prelude to the subject, and the subject is the art of decision making. Let us all say that, please. Note I said the art. It is an art. One has to become a proficient decision maker in life, because the only time we stop making decisions is when we are dead. As long as we're alive, we're making decisions every second of the day. Now, I want to share with you an example of decision making. Now, this is, you may determine if this is a true story or not. Now, many, many years ago, I lived in a very prominent neighborhood. I had very nice neighbors. And I loved to play cricket, and still do. I was in the back of the yard, and I had a soft cricket ball, and I was tossing it around. And sometimes you toss a cricket ball up in the air and you catch it back to see how far you can throw it. Right? And then my neighbor came outside and says, good morning, how are you doing? Nice day. And we exchanged cordialities. And I saw him had a beautiful bowl of fruits and salad in his hand. And they looked Nice. And there he was preparing to sit down on a table in his backyard. And I, casually was throwing my ball up. And then he left his bowl, went inside, and I took an effort and tossed the ball way up. And I waited to come back, and he didn't come back, but all I heard was a crash. And then I heard a neighbor say, "Oh my God!" And when I looked, guess what happened? My ball crashed into his glass bowl, knocked it off the table, broke it on the ground, and his salad all fell. I do not want to tell you what he said. And I was standing, my God. And I looked at him and he was raring to go, like, "I'll kill you." And he said some choice word, and I didn't mean to do that. Okay, now that's a story. We want to do the analysis. So, did I mean to break his bowl? I'm a good person. I didn't mean to do that. But he was totally annoyed. And then to make it better, that bowl was given to him by his grandmother or something. And I totally demolished it. And don't talk about the time he took to make that salad. Ooh, and it's all in the dirt. I didn't mean to. You didn't mean to do that? You broke the bowl. You destroyed my salad. I was having a nice day. You destroyed it totally. You didn't mean to do that? That's not good enough. In any decision, there are always unknown factors. Now I want you to know I was tossing the ball up in the air and I was catching it back. But when I tossed it this time, it didn't come back to me. Why? The unknown factor of a little bit of wind blowing drifted the ball into his neighborhood. Lo and behold, the unknown factor. But by the way, when I was tossing the ball up, I never thought of his bowl of salad. My decision to toss the ball was no problem. I didn't think I could hurt anybody. I am only thinking of tossing a ball up and catching it. But look at the consequences. All of us make decisions. Very few of us consider the unknown factors. Very few of us are prepared for the consequences of a casual decision without consideration. All of us have experienced this sometime or the other. But then when we reflect, look how simple it is and all the problem it causes. But only if I had thought about it, if I toss this ball up, maybe I should go in the park. Because there'll be lots of room there. There's no neighbor with his bowl of salad. And if the wind blows it, who cares? But I made this decision to toss the ball up in my backyard without due consideration of the unknown factors. And there are always unknown factors. Always unknown factors. So, in decision making today, we will conclude on these points. That in making decisions, there is always the unknown factor, or what we'll call in the business world the risk factor. You must always analyze the risk in every scenario because there's a risk. The husband and wife who are deciding whether to come to Mandir this morning, also there's a risk factor. What is the risk factor? If the wise person pursue the idea, the unwise person might get angry. That's a risk. And they were calm and quiet, laying in bed, having a good time. So maybe it was better to shut up and let's stay in bed and don't worry about it. Risk factor. But the wise person considered the risk factor, but in considering it, decided how to approach it to limit the risk factor. Now, I wanted to toss the ball up in the air and have the joy of it. The risk factor, I could have limited that factor by going outside in the park and tossing the ball. I would have received the same joy I wanted, but less risk of hurting anybody with my action. Now, this is a very simple analogy. And in life, every decision is simple. It only becomes complicated when we have to face the consequences of the action without LTDR. without listening, thinking, and then deciding on the options. Prem Spolo Sitapati Ramachandra Bhagavan Ki Jai. I will be continuing this discussion over the next few weeks to talk about, and there's an article already written on this subject that will be published in our magazine. Because in life, all of us are victims of, is it bad decisions or good decisions? Now, from the point of view of the man who lost his bowl of salad, it was a terrible decision I made to toss the ball up, right? From my point of view, I didn't mean to do anything wrong. So was it a wrong decision or a right decision? We'll think about that. In decision making, right and wrong is left to interpretation by the person performing the act and the person who gets the end result of the action. One will see it as right, one will see it as wrong. And in the world we live in, decisions are based upon our intentions. Our intentions. What is our intention when we decided? Was my intention when I decided to throw the ball in the air? Have fun. That's all. My neighbor is not talking to me anymore. He lost a beautiful bowl and he will remember it all of his life. This stupid guy who lived next door, he did this. He broke this bowl. And I will be in his bad books for a long time. And I didn't mean to hurt him. I had not a bad intention in my mind. But I did not consider the unknown factors. But remember, it's common sense that says to us, we must consider the unknown factors. Don't ever take anything for granted. There's always unknown factors. Sri Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Nama Bolo. Sri Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Nama. I would like to conclude today with a bhajan dedicated to Ganeshi, because I think there is one verse of this bhajan that complements my message today. Jai Ganapati Vandan Gananayak.
Jai Ganapati Vandan Gananayak.
Jai Ganapati Vandan Gananayak.
Jai Ganapati Vandan Gananayak.
Teri Chabiyati Sundar Sukdayak. Teri
Chabiyati Sundar Sukdayak.
Teri Chabiyati Sundar Sukdayak.
Teri Chabiyati Sundar Sukdayak. Jai Ganapati Vandan Gananayak. Jai Ganapati Vandan Gananayak.
मन मंदिर का अंधियारा तेरे नाम से हो उजियारा। तेरे नाम की ज्योति जली तो मन में बहती सुखधारा। तेरो सुमिरन हर सबसे पहले बलदायक। जय गणपति
वंदन गणनायक।
जय
छवि अति सुंदर सुखदायक तेरी
छवि अति सुंदर सुखदायक जय गणपति वंदन गणनायक
जय
गणपति वंदन
गणनायक। मन मंदिर का अंधियारा तेरे नाम से हो उजियारा। मन मंदिर कविता कहता है, इन द टेम्पल ऑफ माई माइंड देयर इज डार्कनेस. Darkness means confusion, doubt, ignorance, lack of common sense is darkness. मन मंदिर का अंधियारा तेरे नाम से हो उजियारा. By chanting your name, Ganesh, the name of Ganesh says to focus. Om Sri Ganeshaya Namah. Om Sri Ganeshaya Namah. Focus my mind. Let all of my energies focus upon the challenge. If I had thought before I threw the ball up in the air that the chances are it would drop into the neighbor's yard, I would very likely not throw it then or throw it somewhere else. But this having the focus to think of the unknown, not to take it for granted that I know everything and that everything will be perfect because I know what I know. There are things that I don't know. I must consider all of them when I make a decision. तेरे नाम की ज्योति जली तो मन में बहती सुखधारा. By focusing my mind upon you, I become more in tune to the realities of what I want to do. It's like an enlightened state. Yes, I thought of the unknown. I thought maybe the wind could blow and divert the ball in another direction. And then if I had thought about that and I realized that man mein behti sukhdhara, happiness will come onto my mind. Oh my God, I'm glad I didn't do that. I'm happy with myself that I thought about it. And just imagine there will be no broken bowl, no distributed salad on the floor, no angry neighbor, no pain to go. Man mein behti sukhdhara. As such, तेरो सुमिरन हर पूजन में सबसे पहले फलदायक. So I chant your name, meaning, oh God, I am committing myself to be a focused individual. That pehle bhi, I will always firstly think before I act. I will use the God-given gift of discrimination that says common sense must be applied on all occasions, regardless of the scenario, circumstances, or words spoken to us. We must use our own common sense. And in so doing, we will realize that there will be no pain in our lives. The pain that I felt after I tossed the ball up and fell into the bowl, I cannot explain to you. I cannot express it to the person whom I've caused pain to, because it was caused out of based lack of using common sense. Do you want to call it stupidity? No. I'm not a stupid person. I'm a very wise person. But yet, I performed such an unwise action because I did not use basic common sense. Education is not common sense. World knowledge is not common sense. Everybody have common sense, regardless of education or world knowledge. And that is our basic instincts. To think, to listen, to try to understand what we've heard, and then to decide on the options we have, and then to commit ourselves. And in so doing, we'll find that man mein bheti sukhdhara. We will always be happy with ourselves. Jai Ganapati Vandan Gananayak. Jai
Ganapati Vandan Gananayak.
Teri छवि अति सुंदर सुखदायक तेरी
छवि अति सुंदर सुखदायक
जय गणपति
वंदन गणनायक
जय गणपति
वंदन
गणनायक। प्रेम सूची गणपति देवता की जय। Let me take this opportunity to welcome each and every one of you here today. कौन पहले बार आए हैं? Who's here for the first time in Ram Mandir? Any newcomers? One. एक. Talia, give her a wonderful round of applause and welcome her. Who's renewing your acquaintance after being away for quite some time? Put your hands up, please. One. Yes, this young man, I know that for sure. Who's not been here for the last 2 months and is here today? Put your hands up. Only one person? We are in a mandir, don't tell lies. Two, right? Give them a big hand, please. Welcome back. We welcome all of you here. And we invite you to join us in the mandir 7 days a week. The mandir is open 15 hours a day. And there is always a pandit here, a purohit here to address to your offerings. And then there's always special programs. Mandi, Shiv, Bhavan ka puja, Lingam puja. Tuesday, Hanumanji ka puja and Chalisa is chanted on Monday also. Preeti Bhojan is prepared on Tuesday for everyone. And then every evening there's Aarti at 8. Saturday evening there's Hanuman Chalisa. Sunday morning there's Karigam. And on special purpose, of course, there's activity. There's a lot of other activities. We have a full day school for children, junior and senior kindergarten. And we have all of our musical classes, our arts classes, that is Bharatnatyam, Kathak dance. We have a recreational class, exercise class. We also have classes in Hindi, tabla, harmonium and vocal. These classes are available for registration starting January. Please register now if you're interested. There is no age limit to the classes. You can start from the age of 5 and we go to infinity. So everyone, it is a more of an inclusive rather than exclusive program. Everyone is welcome. Of course, we also have our Gurukul classes where we're looking for people who want to follow the concept of being helpers to our pandits and who want to aspire to be purohits one day. We also have a Gita class that we are taking registration for in the new year. These are some of the things that are happening in the mandir. Of course, the Bal Vihar program, a very, very active program. We have 4 grades of Bal Vihar program. And Vidya, where Vidya? Have you taken the program to Trinidad? Why? Okay. By the way, I was in Trinidad, in the mandir in Trinidad, where Vidya father is the number 1 patron of this mandir in the town of San Fernando. And the mandir officials have approached Vidya and talked to me about it, about taking our Bal Vihar program and implementing it in their mandir in Trinidad. Let's give the Bal Vihar people a big hand. I want you to know that our Bal Vihar program was accepted in Ohio. And where was the other mandir we visited? Tara, anybody remember when we went? Pittsburgh, is it? No, it's Pittsburgh. It's Pittsburgh and Ohio have accepted our program to implement in their mandir. So what we are doing here has been added value to the lives of people all over the world. So please, if you would like to get involved, we are looking for 6 people who wants to become Bal Vihar teachers. It's a 5-year contract, no payment, a commitment. You'll be taught the program for the first year and then you will teach for the next 4 years. If you're good, we'll give you an extension for another 5 years. But we are seriously looking for 6 Bal Vihar teachers to start program next year. You will be given a full program in a period of 1 year. You will have to come to the mandir literally every Sunday in the spring and fall. Summer, no, you're off on summer. And the program will have separate days of training. We're looking for 6 people who want to be teachers. If you have any teaching experience, that's good. You don't have to have teaching experience. We will teach you to be a teacher. You will learn all the basics of the Bal Vihar program. And by the time you're finished in 1 year, you'll become an excellent exponent of all of the
classes and the curriculum, and you will disseminate that knowledge to children from the age of 5 to 12. You will become proficient in reading the Bhagavad Gita, especially chapter 12 and chapter 15. You will acquire knowledge during that time of reading the Hindi alphabet and the Sanskrit alphabet. Even if you don't know it, you will learn it. So there's lots of value that you will gain by becoming part of that. And more than anything else, you will contribute to the betterment of the lives of our future leaders. So we're looking for volunteers. Speaking of future leaders, how many of you were here last week? Put your hands, last week. What did you think of our young people? Did they do a good job? Give them a big hand, please. And how many of you were here the previous week? How did we do that week? Give them a big hand, please. I want you to know that you are seeing the transition program in place, whereby I'm transiting myself, detaching myself, I shouldn't say because I'm not planning to leave. I'm detaching myself from the roles and responsibilities and transferring them to the new age group who one day will take full, total responsibility of continuing to do what we do here and even do it better than it's done today. So let's give our youths a big hand, please. We are looking for volunteers who want to work with our youths. We've implemented a new youth management training program. Danish, where are you? Can you stand up, please? Take the microphone. I need you to say a word. Danish will tell you a little bit in 2 or 3 minutes about our management training program that has been implemented. Danish. Who is the implemented whereby we're training youths to become managers? Danish, tell us about this, please.
What do you want me to say?
What are you doing?
So basically, there's about 10 or 11 of us, who every Sunday we've taken on the role of making sure that the banquet hall is ready for serving food. So that includes setting up the tables and the chairs and making sure that everybody has jugs of water, the cups, everything that you see.
And the important thing, you're managing a resource.
And the most important thing is that we are managing the volunteers. And this is to help us gain not only leadership, but a sense of responsibility of being in the mandir. And with that, whenever we see something that's not what it should look like, we will take that responsibility to fix it ourselves or bring it up with someone who can fix it. So that way it's less responsibility on the senior members of the mandir and more responsibility on the youths.
Thank you, Danish. Please remain standing. Hold on. Now, Danish is being very, very humble. The responsibility is very, very large. We have youths who come here to volunteer every Sunday. We have in excess of 50 to 60 youths who are on the program to volunteer. These youths leave their home and they come here and they are to be held. We, the mandir, is held responsible for their welfare while they're here. The youth managers are responsible for the welfare of these young people. They are to guide them, they are to encourage them and to motivate them. And in so doing, they are developing guidance and motivational skills. They are to help them to resolve their challenges. As such, they are developing conflict resolution skills. They are to help them to communicate with others. As such, they are developing communication skills. They are to show them how to manage their initiatives. As such, they are developing project management skills. Therein is what Dhanesh and his team is doing. Give him a big hand, please. These initiatives are all built upon the concept that the more we expose ourselves, young and old, to work together, the more we grow. The more we realize how valuable we are. And in becoming valuable, we add value to what is happening. They're adding value to the mandir and what is happening here. We would like to invite anyone who wants to get involved with this. I've talked to Saab. Saab, will you please stand up? Saab? Saab is very shy. She doesn't like to stand up. Stand up, please. Saab Beni Prasad has been with the mandir as long as I can remember. She's not that old. She just looks, she's always looking young. But should I say, I said that wrong. She's not an old person. She's a young person. But Saab is about to undertake a new project. She's always said to me, Panditji, you asked me to get involved in mandir. I have nothing to do. I come and I just stand around and walk around. Well, we let people stand around and walk around because we want them to learn one skill that all of the young managers must learn. It's MBWA. Note the acronym, please. MBWA. Management by walking around. It's a very, very powerful skill, by the way. MBWA. Management by walking around. That's what you've been learning when you think you were not doing anything. And I think you've passed the test. You didn't quit. You persevere. And you identify things. Now, we're about to give you the challenge of putting that management by walking around principle to work. We'll be asking her to take on the catering services management in our mandir, to manage all the catering activities. And you know why? She's an excellent cook, but that's not it. It's because she's an excellent observer and manager of activities and processes. And she's been doing this very well. She thinks she's not being observed, but I've been keeping track of her activities. So she's graduated. Give her a big hand, please. So we continue to do this. If anybody wants to join the MBWA program, Management by Walking Around program, we welcome you. When you start a project, you must finish it in this mandir. We don't start anything that we don't finish. If not, we don't start it at all. But it may take time. So MBWA is a new acronym for the young managers to learn and do it well. Our executives have learned that. Most of them just walk around, but they are hopefully managing by walking around. Prem se Krishna Chanda Bhagavan ki jai. Navgraha Puja is on December 13th. Please make note of this date. By the way, everyone has noticed our new notice board that Pandit Ramprasad has? Dekho, highlighted in, we're getting high tech now. Let's give Panditji a wonderful round of applause. We have a new member of our Pandit staff. Panditji, aaiye. Pandit Bhaskar, just give him a big hand, please. Panditji is a professional, retired from India, who's got background in law and management, and is also a very proficient Purohit. He is volunteered to help us out during the absence of our Pandit Sunil, who is now vacationing in India. So let's welcome Panditji. Our food bank, gentlemen, what's the answer? I asked you to get me an answer. Around 1 ton? That's not much. That's only about 10 bags of flour. I'm hoping that we'll target 1 ton. 2 tons. We said target 2. We want to give 2 tons of food, not 2 pounds, 2 tons of food to the needy. So I'm sure we are close to that. Jaideep, did we give all of the flour? No? Okay. We were working on that. Please contribute, continue to contribute. December 13th, Santa Claus is coming to town. If you have a child from baby to 7, Santa Claus will be there to greet them, smile with them, and to take a picture with them, and to have fun times with them. Santa has already left on his journey from the North Pole, traveling a long way. He's made many stops on the way. Volunteers are needed to teach French. I have one person. Is there anyone here who speaks French and who would like to teach French for 1 hour during the week, during the day? I'm looking for a volunteer. Anyone? Please contact our office. And if you're interested in teaching dance also, this is to our day school children. It could be Bollywood dance also. Those of you who brought prasad, please come forward. We shall offer bhog. Let's give our musicians a big hand, please. are in the season, the spirit of Christmas, where our brothers from the Abrahamic religions, especially Christianity, will be celebrating the birth and the coming of their Savior called Christ. We as Hindus recognize all religions and feel that everyone has the right to pray in any way that they feel. We do not claim the sole possession of God. We believe that God belongs to everyone. As such, the dharmic religions, which is Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and Sikhism, never ever declare that our God is the only God. And never declare that our way is the only way. We always declare that there are many ways to God, and there's only one God. So we shall share the spirit of this occasion of welcoming God into our lives, because we do that all the time as Hindus. And the spirit of giving for those who are in need, we do this also. So in such, let us enjoy this wonderful spirit, this spirituality, not religion, but spirituality, because Hindus are very spiritual people. And as such, let us feel and experience and share with our brothers the joy of their revelation of God in their life. The events coming up, the end of the year, the calendar year will happen. Not the Hindu calendar year, that has happened already, but what is considered the calendar year in Canada, the end of December. On the last day of the year, which we call the Old Year's Day, there'll be a special bhajan program here in the evening. And the first day of the year, we have a special program where we invite as much of the families to come out and celebrate. The program starts, I think, at 4 o'clock. 2 hours of bhajan and pravachan, and come and sit together and enjoy the first day of the year in this part of the world. And it's a time to reflect upon the last year and to make resolutions. And thus our subject for the next few weeks will be decisions. Resolutions are decisions that we make. And the reality is there are many people who made decisions last December that are still trying to decide if they're going to do it or not. So we want to make sure that when you make a decision, that you set a strategy in place to implement the decision, not to get to the same place next year and say, oh, I will do it again, because I live in procrastinating. We invite everyone to participate in Aarti. We want our seniors to come first, let them rise, and those who are ill, then everyone else to do together Aarti. Families must do Aarti together, parents and children.
जगदीश हरे स्वामी जय जगदीश हरे भक्त जनों के संकट
दास जनों के संकट क्षण में दूर करे।
ओम जय जगदीश हरे मन का स्वामी दुख बिन से मन का सुख संपत्ति घर आवे सुख संपत्ति घर आवे अष्टमिते तन का। ओम जय जगदीश हरे पिता तुम मेरे शरण कहूँ मैं किसकी स्वामी शरण कहूँ मैं किसकी तुम बिन और न दूजा प्रभु बिन और न दूजा आश करूँ मैं जिसकी। ओम जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे तुम पूर्ण परमात्मा तुम अंतर्यामी स्वामी तुम अंतर्यामी
पार ब्रह्म परमेश्वर, पार ब्रह्म परमेश्वर, तुम सबके स्वामी। ओम जय जगदीश हरे, ओम जय जगदीश हरे। तुम करुणा के सागर, तुम पालन करता, स्वामी तुम पालन करता। मैं सेवक तुम स्वामी, कृपा करो भरता। ओम जय जगदीश हरे, ओम जय जगदीश हरे। तुम हो एक अगोचर, सबके प्राणपति, स्वामी सबके प्राणपति। किस विध मिलो दया में, किस विध मिलो दया में, तुमको मैं तुम दी। ओम जय जगदीश हरे, ओम जय जगदीश हरे।
दीनबंधु दुख हरता, ठाकुर तुम मेरे,
स्वामी रक्षक तुम मेरे। अपने हाथ उठाओ, अपने शरण बनाओ, द्वार पर तेरे। ओम जय जगदीश हरे, ओम जय जगदीश हरे। विषय विकार मिटाओ, पाप हरो देवा, स्वामी कष्ट हरो देवा। श्रद्धा भक्ति बढ़ाओ, श्रद्धा प्रेम बढ़ाओ, संतन की सेवा। ओम जय जगदीश हरे, ओम जय जगदीश हरे। धन सब है तेरा, स्वामी सब कुछ है तेरा। तेरा तुझको अर्पण, तेरा तुझको अर्पण, क्या लागे तेरा। ओम जय जगदीश हरे, ओम जय जगदीश हरे। आरती जो कोई नर गावे, स्वामी जो कोई नर गावे। कहत शिवानंद स्वामी, कहत शिवानंद स्वामी, मनवांछित फल पावे। ओम जय जगदीश हरे, ओम जय जगदीश हरे।
जगदीश हरे,
स्वामी जय जगदीश हरे। भक्त जनों के संकट, दास जनों के संकट, जन में दूर करे। ओम जय जगदीश हरे, ओम जय जगदीश हरे।
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय,
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय,
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय,
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय।
राधा रमन हरि गोविंद जय जय, राधा रमन हरि गोविंद जय जय, राधा रमन हरि गोविंद जय जय, राधा रमन हरि गोविंद जय जय।
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय. Let us all please clasp our hands and close our eyes. सभी लोग हाथ जोड़कर और आँख बंद करो. Children, parents show the children, hands must be clasped in front of the chest like this, and to bow our heads in humility. We appeal to you, O Lord, this morning that you have granted us the privilege to rise from our beds and to gather together in this holy place that we call a mandir, to listen to your glories, to glorify your name, and to learn about how we can live in this world and continue to grow in relationship with you, O Lord. We appeal to you, O Lord, for whatever errors we might have made here today, to forgive us. And we appeal to you to be our constant guidance, our sustenance and protection as we continue to live in your world. Oh. Shantakaram
Bhujanashanam Padmanabham Suresham Vishwadharam Gaganasarasham Meghavarnam Subhagam
Lakshmi Kantam
Kamalayanam Yogi Vidyan Gamyam
Vande
Vishnu
Bhavaharanam Sarvalokenatham. Om Dao Shanti.
Antarikshakam Shanti Prithvi Shanti Rapa Shanti Vrushadaya Shanti Vanaspati Shanti Vishwadeva Shanti Brahma Shanti Sarve Bhum Shanti Shanti Deva Shanti Sama Shanti Devi.
For those of us who can, please bow our heads touching the ground. Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Asato Ma Sadagamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Nityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. प्रेम से कृष्ण भगवान की, सच्चे सनातन धर्म की, सीतापति रामचंद्र भगवान की. सबको जय 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 श्री राम, जय माता जी, जय श्री कृष्ण. सभी लोग आसन लीजिए. No birthdays today. Everyone, please do participate in Aarti, Panchamrit Prasad, and Preeti Bhojan is prepared for everyone today. And Preeti Bhojan is sponsored by someone anonymous today, and you may sponsor Preeti Bhojan. If you want your name to be called or not want your name to be called, let us know. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om.